fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes spin a wheel, it chooses three brand new movies, and we discuss them. Today, we're talking about the 2021 film Tentacles, which is streaming on Hulu, The Tomorrow War, which is streaming on Amazon Prime, and Without Remorse, which is also streaming on Amazon Prime. I'm your co-host, Alec.
I'm Justin.
All right, and another spoiler alert. We're going to ruin these movies. Get ready. So this was an action-packed week, definitely more so than the last few weeks. We get some realistic action, we get some sci-fi crazy action, and then we also get some tentacle love-making relationships. What'd you think of these three movies?
Well, we don't need to do much spoiling for Tentacles because I felt like that movie was just trash, but...
Oh, Justin, I think this is where we're going to part ways here.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I did not hate it.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but like I finished it and I was like, why was this made?
Okay. So you want to do Tentacles first?
Sure.
All right. So Tentacles is one of these. It's released on Hulu, but it's under the umbrella of like Into the Dark, which I guess is like their. I don't even know, Hulu's like horror monthly releases where they do all these different things. So even if you type in Tentacles, it doesn't really pop up. You have to type in Tentacles Hulu and then it'll kind of pop up. But this was released February 12th of 2021. So it's, relatively new. So you did not like it, Justin. Why?
Well, first off, I messaged you. I broke the rules. And we talked about it outside of the podcast. But why is it not on IMDb? Is it just so bad it's not on IMDb?
I know. I was like, keep your tentacles in your pants, Justin. Save it for the podcast. It is on IMDb, but it's under. You have to type in like Into the Dark, and then it like pops up, and yeah, I don't know. You can find it though. It doesn't have a Wikipedia. It has an IMDb.
It wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the best horror movie ever, but dude, I don't know. Like, I could kind of relate to some aspects of it, which sounds kind of fucked up.
You've dated girls with tentacles in their stomachs?
No. All of that aside, but I feel like I've had a relationship fairly similar to this movie, so for me personally, it was more engaging than maybe somebody that's never been in something like this.
Well, everything just moved really quickly, which I'm sure there's people out there that end up moving in with each other after like a week. I don't know. I'm sure they exist, but
yeah,
like he met this girl, they went back to his house and she lived there. Like she just stayed there and lived there. And then they moved in together after like 48 hours. And I was like, this is kind of unrealistic.
Absolutely. That's an extreme, like where people meet each other. But I think like, I don't really know what the whole movie is, but basically it seems like there's a woman who's a tentacle. She like preys on vulnerable men or women and then kind of, like injects themselves into their lives to then become that person. So maybe she could sense his vulnerability and that's what drew her to him. And, he just lost his parents. He's an alcoholic. He doesn't really have any prospects going. So he just sees this beautiful girl and he's just like, fuck it. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. And then his ear started bleeding, which like, personally, if I was Q-tipping my ear and like a good amount of blood started dripping out of my head, I would immediately go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, it's probably fine.
Yeah, so that's the thing where I was thinking the same thing. I was like, there's a lot of stuff he's not doing that you'd think he would. So I'm starting to think maybe he's like already kind of under her spell and control or whatever.
She did say that every night she was like putting the tentacle like in his brain, like absorbing some of him. So, and then like he was having like periods of time where he didn't know like if it was the next day or if it was a flashback. He was kind of like almost high.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was probably messing with like his memory abilities and stuff like that, and just like his brain is like slowly becoming like more scrambled every day that they're together. Yeah, he's like doing things he doesn't know he's doing. Then she's becoming him and doing things. So like, I don't know, dude. I thought like it was pretty original, and the acting was fantastic.
I thought it was good for people I've never seen before on like a Hulu original, but it wasn't like Tom Hanks or something.
No, obviously, yeah. I fell in love with the lead girl though. Oh my god, tentacles aside, I was like the whole movie. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what's wrong with me.
She was giving me weird vibes from like straight from the beginning. I was like, something's off about her.
Okay, the beginning, dude. What's up? Because they don't really explain that. It's like her in a house and she's like, wait, I don't want you now or whatever. And like the door slamming. or whatever. Remember that? Like the first opening shots?
Yeah, that was a flashback of when she actually died. Do you remember at the end when he was like, I went to the house and she was like, oh, so you found me. And so that was a flashback of when the other
Oh.
like tentacle monster killed her to be her.
Okay, that makes more sense now. Yeah, I did get a little confused at the end. I really did. I liked it all the way up until the last like 20 minutes, and then I was kind of like, shit, I think I missed something because this isn't really clicking as much. What do you think it is? Do you think it's like an alien or a demon, or what do you think?
I think it's a lot easier to explain than you're going with. I think they're literally just like octopus monsters who have to, because when he was like, if you could live anywhere, where would you live? And she was like, under the sea. And I was sitting
Yeah.
there and I was like, what is she, like an octopus or something? And then in the bathtub, when he busted into the bathroom, it looked like the bathtub water was like oil, like
Yeah.
a squid oil or some shit.
Ink.
Ink, yeah, whatever. So like it kind of like in my head I was joking about like the South Park episode where they were like crab people and I was like this is octopus person.
Dude, it's funny you say that because this reminded me of the succubus episode from South Park with Chef.
Yeah, yeah. It was basically a mix of crab people and succubus with octopus.
Yeah, well, that see, I like that too because there was a couple like moments that I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Where the lead male guy, he's like, "Yeah, every time you take a picture of somebody, it's like you take a piece of them." And then she's like, "Every time I stick my, tentacle in your head, I take a piece of you." And then so at the end too where she says that thing where it's like if I could live anywhere, I'd want to live underwater. And
Mhm.
then at the end when, the tentacle monster is a lead dude, it's like almost like a code that they use to other people like them, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like yeah, they both said it and that it was cool. Well, we'll touch on the ending later. I don't want to go over the ending,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you noticed, but when she was in the bathtub and like that arm came out of the tub, I was like looking at it, I was like, that's not her arm, is it? Because it was like a very big man arm. Did you notice that?
Yeah, wasn't that her becoming was that like
That
his arm, the
yeah,
lead
that
dude?
was his arm essentially. And I was like, oh, she's like she can like shape shift into him, whoever she's absorbing.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm sure there's other things that are similar to this that I'm like, I don't know, but I can't really compare this to much else that I can think of.
No, I mean it kind of took like bits and pieces of different concepts. Like I got pretty big vibes from like It Follows because like once she's like starts absorbing you, like she has to finish the job. Which is weird because those other people got away in that other town with the the guy with the one arm and then like her
Yeah.
ex. Like she kind of just gave up on those guys, which was weird.
I know, yeah, okay, so that's where I kinda got a little like, "Alright, what the hell's going on too?" And her boyfriend or whatever, what did he have the house bugged? Like, that was, like, supernatural, so he was like what was he doing? Did he know he didn't know she was a tentacle monster, I'm assuming.
Tentacle monster. No, like she just took all his money, and then
Yeah.
I think she just decided to leave, but she couldn't change into him.
Yeah, but how much money did she steal where this guy's like, "That's it, I'm devoting my whole life to finding her and ruining her relationships and stalking her," like
Well, he said she drained like every penny, and then if you remember her digging in the desert, like there was a good amount of cash in there in that
yeah.
bag.
Yeah, he's probably like a meth head or something, I don't know. That guy, I didn't like him. I didn't like that guy.
Her ex.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't him Gary or
Ton of I think it was Glenn. Yeah, ton of red flags though. Like he proposed at like four
oh,
months, and then her ex. Like if I was dating someone and it was moving very fast, and her ex was like, "Hey man, she took every penny out of my account,"
yeah.
and then like left, I'd probably be like, "I need to rethink this decision."
Yeah, it's like it is like every red flag in the world. And I just feel bad for the lead character, dude. The man like was
Oh yeah, it didn't end well for Sam.
I mean, just like the whole movie, it starts off, he's just this like drunk, he's a photographer, he's in his mid-30s, his parents are dead, he had a bad relationship with his father already, and he's just kind of like, I'm just doing wedding fucking photos, my life, I hate it. And then this beautiful girl comes into his life, and then I think the first time they have sex, he's already under her spell. And then it's like he's making illogical decisions from then on.
Yeah, in the end, like I, I thought the ending was cool because it wasn't just like a one-off monster. When she met that other guy and they were like, "How'd you find me?" and he's like, "Oh, I read some weird things in the newspaper and I just knew." And then they like stared off into the ocean. So I was like, there could be like dozens of octopus monsters.
Dude, it's like a new vampire like cult or whatever, like a underground vampire network, but with like tentacle people.
But with octopus.
Yeah, dude, I like this movie. I'm sorry, Justin.
It was okay, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not raving about it. I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, guys, tentacles. But for what it is, like, I don't know. Like, I kind of want to watch more of these Hulu Into the Dark things because of it.
Hmm. What
Uh,
would you give it?
dude, I'm gonna give this one a 3.5. I think for a modern day horror movie, it's different, good acting. I enjoyed it. What about you?
I'm gonna give it 2.5.
Okay, okay. So you didn't hate it. It was okay.
Wasn't terrible, but never need to see it again.
Well, I will say this, Dana Drury, I'm watching your career from now on. I really enjoyed your work, so I'm
Is
going to
that the
continue.
blonde-haired woman?
Yes, the woman that played Tara. I liked her.
Yeah,
I liked her performance.
she did it. I mean, they were all good considering I've never heard of them. All
But
right.
moving on, moving on. So we have two movies. We have The Tomorrow War, which is on Amazon Prime, and we also have Without Remorse. Which one are you thinking here?
Let's do Tomorrow War. Why don't you start?
All right, I just finished this. So this came out on July 2nd on Amazon Prime. So this is the most recent one. I thought this was like okay. I thought this was like a much better Cosmic Sin where the plot doesn't really add up and you can poke holes in so much of it. Eh, Yeah, I thought the acting, the actors were fine. The special effects were fine. I didn't like that it was PG-13. I think that really hurt it. And it was fine. That's fine. But what do you think?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say something like that. Um, yeah, it wasn't like spectacular. Again, only saw it because Chris Pratt was in it. I think
Yeah.
he really made it. The movie, cool concept. They took like Terminator 2 time travel vibes because like you could only go back to that one time and you can't like change it or whatever. And then the concept was pretty neat. Like they went back in time to recruit people for like half a week or a week, whatever it was, and then to fight monsters to try and save the future.
Uh-huh.
Only my biggest gripe with it was just that like they literally took normal people from the past, put a machine gun in their hands, and they were like, "Good luck."
That's your only gripe?
That was like the biggest gripe.
Okay, the biggest gripe in this movie is there's a war 30
Uh,
years in the future, and instead of figuring out how it happened, they're like, well, there's 500,000 of us left on Earth. Let's just send fucking random strangers into the future to this war, as opposed to just putting all of the resources to fix that. What are they doing?
well, yeah, okay.
Come on,
uh,
dude. I was like, this makes no sense.
Well,
No.
they were developing that thing in the future to try and beat it. So, maybe they had a better chance because like the people in the past didn't even know anything that they couldn't see them. They didn't have like blood samples and shit. So I think the concept was just like protect the lab in the future so that they can, I don't know. I see your
Justin,
point. I see
it
your point.
it's so like it's like trying to make like a Vietnam, like the draft was bad, guys. Like these were inexperienced, like 18-year-old men. It's like this is like people, they'll take anybody sort of thing, and to put them in a war that they are unfit for, they almost like mock that like there's no training, and that one guy's like, that's what I wanted, sort of thing. And then they just drop you in midair and they're like, "Well, hope some of them survive." Dude, okay, and the other thing that I was like, "Wait, hold on." So, they said there's 500,000 people left on Earth, right, in the future, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, we can only send people that are already dead." That's fucking everybody then!
Wait, they can only send people dead.
So, like,
Where?
remember, like, in the beginning when they, like, put that thing on Chris Pratt's arm, they're like, "Alright, he's, like, a level 2 class guy, like, he's already dead, he died 7 years from now, so, like, we can
Oh
send
yeah.
him." So they're only sending people to the future who are already dead, and I think they make the joke too, they're like, like a paradox, like, they're probably only sending, like, people in their 40s and, blah, 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 so that they don't see each other in the future, which whatever, ridiculous either way. But
Oh,
so
I see. Yeah, yeah, I see what
but
you're saying.
so in the future, there's only 500,000 people, and then in the year 2022, there's probably 8 billion people. So that's like 0.1% of people that are going to be alive. So like you can send basically everybody, and they're like, well, we can only send people that are like definitely dead. It's like so everybody's dead.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was, it wasn't perfect, but I thought the concept was cool. Like you had to go into the future. I was thinking like from a realistic perspective, like how would that work if it happened today? Like, people from the future were like on like NBC News. They're like, listen, you need to go to the future. Like so many people would be like, fuck you. Like,
Dude, you people can't even get vaccinated without fighting about it. You think they're gonna be like, you know what? Sign me up. Like I'll go into the future and fight a war I know nothing about. They won't even show me the monsters because they'll say I'll be too afraid if they show me them. It's like, okay, okay. I'm like, guys, come
Dude,
on.
so many people would be like, I'll worry about it in 30 years.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, the entire dude, there was a point in my mind where I was watching this movie and I was just kind of like, okay, okay. But then a little switch went in my head where I was like, just watch it like you're an 8-year-old. I was like, just watch it and literally pretend like, oh, that's cool. He shot it. Oh, he said shit. Oh, he did that.
All
Like,
right, all right. Give it a break. I will say when they landed in the future and you first see the monster, like I was just trying to think of like what these people were thinking. Like, imagine you're just walking around, right? You're in the future, you have this machine gun, and you don't know what's going on, and you just see this like massive like alien thing that spits spikes. Like, I was like, holy crap, dude. Oh
yeah.
god.
Well, yeah, dude. Like that's like the only training they get because they don't know anything about these monsters except anything. They're just like, hey, just make sure you shoot it in the neck and the head. It's like, well, I mean, that's probably what I was gonna do, even if you didn't tell me that. But they're like, okay. But then they get there and they see that they're like a mix of like the xenomorphs and like a white tiger thing. I don't even know, but they're terrifying, and the bullets do nothing to them. The bullets do nothing, dude.
Yeah, it was send as many people as you can and just try and like buy us time to make this thing that will hopefully stop them.
Oh my
Which
god.
then we need to like bring back to the past so we can prevent this timeline.
And then the best part is ever is that Chris Pratt's wife is just kind of like, wait, what if they're already here? And it's like, oh yeah, oh yeah,
Okay, there's actually two parts like that were super
oh
cheesy. Where
yeah.
he kept going to the future and they're like, "We need you to speak with the head colonel." And then I was sitting on the couch and I was like, "I bet it's his daughter." Like,
Oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming.
really? I felt like I was thinking in the mind like of a child, like, "Oh my god, it's his daughter," and they're like work together.
Dude, I was sitting there at the first. I was like, "Oh, Ivan Strasky or whatever from Handmaid's Tales in this." I was like, "Oh, I bet he's gonna like cheat on his wife with her." And then it's just like, "Dad," and I was like, "Oh, whoa, okay." Like now I'm looking at this because I really didn't think it would be the daughter. But that's the other thing. She's like, "I don't want to tell you about your past because like you fucked me and mom over." But like, did they ever explain why he actually did that?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, that was kind of annoying. She had like this like little girl, like she was just mad at him, like, "Oh yeah, like you didn't actually do it yet, but like your other you did." And it's just like, can we just focus on like the task at hand?
There need to be an explanation because it sounds like he's just like, yeah, I met up with some biker chick, we got some cigarettes, and like, see ya. Like they give no explanation why Chris Pratt did that, and he seems like such a loving, attentive father and husband and then he's like, bullshit, I would never do that. And she's like, you did. It's like, well, like why? It's like, I can't tell you. It's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, that was kind of, yeah, like I said, not perfect by any means, but like, it's a good watch. It's a decent watch.
Yeah, it is fun. Dude, I'm sorry. It's like Cosmic Sins, but like 30% better.
I mean, at least the acting was, Chris Pratt is a good
Yeah.
actor, and then they even like the people, like the side actors, like made funny jokes and like, yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Dude, I got so tired of that like one guy that he becomes friends with who just like comments on every single thing going on. He's like,
Oh yeah,
"You don't say a guy's gonna die. Come on, don't say that. Oh, I wasn't listening." It was just like, dude, okay, okay, okay. But I did like the guy who had cancer and was fighting for this. He's just like, I've got nothing left. I'm gonna choose my death or whatever. I thought that guy was pretty cool, and he had the spike on his neck. I was like, I like his
yeah,
character. The idea of his character is cool that like people know who he is. He's one of the few people that's been there multiple times. He keeps signing up. Like I like that. Kind of wish he was the lead almost.
yeah. Now that you mention that, like, because it was 30 years in the future, and they're developing something to like try and kill these monsters, I was like, they don't have like a cure for cancer or something to like help this dude out.
That's probably not the priority when there's like,
They're like,
monsters.
hey man, we're about to become extinct.
It's like, hey, we gotta focus on the monsters.
Yeah,
Uh
he was cool though, and he was like ripping their teeth out, like kind of like Predator style, like putting it around his neck. Or
yeah.
that was cool.
My probably favorite character of the movie though was J.K. Simmons as the dad.
Which guy was he?
His dad, his drunk dad that flies them
Oh
to
yeah, 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 yeah.
they call him Conspiracy Santa. I was like, all right, that's very funny.
Yeah, that guy was cool. I always picture him as the boss from Spider-Man, though.
Oh yeah, every time. Or the dad from Juno, or no, he's great in Drumline too. That's a great actor. But I feel like Chris Pratt basically is just being Chris Pratt. He's just goofy, a little bit more tough, but just kind of goofy, and it was fine.
Yeah. What would you give it?
I'm gonna go with a 2.5 for this one.
Okay.
You're not gonna, it's not gonna be like a classic action movie. I don't think so. The fact that it's like, what does it say? It's the most expensive, one of the most expensive films ever made with a budget of $200 million. Like, this is not worth $200 million.
Yeah, I would say that's excessive. Maybe they were just trying to release something really good during, like, when movie theaters weren't open yet times. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of plot holes, but it's fun, especially for kids.
I'm gonna give it a 3 just because special effects were pretty good, and again, even if it's shitty, like Chris Pratt made it decent.
He's starting to do what Will Smith does, though, where he's just kind of like, it's just
Whoa, whoa,
Will
whoa, whoa,
Smith.
whoa,
It's
whoa.
just Will Smith in a movie, and now it's just Chris Pratt doing different things. I don't know. I like Chris Pratt. I like Will Smith, but it does kind of get to the point where you're like, it's just that guy doing different things.
I mean, yeah, all movies kind of, there's a lot of recycling of plots going around.
I know. He's not Daniel Day-Lewis, where he's just like, who is that guy? No. Well, anyways, moving on to our final movie of the episode, Without Remorse. This is a Tom Clancy movie, and this was released on Amazon Prime on April 30th. Little fun fact, Justin, I just want to say this right off the bat. I believe this is actually a prequel to Rainbow Six.
Where did you get that from?
I think I read it very briefly, and now I'm forgetting where, and I'm hoping I'm not making this up, but I could be, but I believe this is supposed to be a prequel to Rainbow Six.
You're like, I pulled it out of my ass.
I'm like, I'm making it up right now. Oh no, here we go. In 2017, it was announced that Akiva Goldsman signed on with the same studio to produce another film adapting Star Clark, Rainbow Six. So I don't know who Clark is though.
Well, Clark is John Kelly when they gave him the new passport.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's why he was like very original because they just didn't do much.
Gotcha. Okay, so anyways, what'd you think, Justin?
I knew I would like this movie just from like reading the bio. Like, Michael B. Jordan's a good actor. Anytime the bio's like an elite team of Navy SEALs, I'm like, all right, you had me at elite team of Navy SEALs. I thought it was good. I didn't know it was a Tom Clancy movie until I read IMDb. And I'm not sure what you found, but a lot of reviews I read, people were upset because it didn't follow the book. And they were like, Tom would be rolling over in his grave. Like, it should have matched the book. Where I guess the book is, he's like an ex-Navy SEAL who, like doesn't exist anymore. And he's helping girls who are like being sex trafficked, I think. Like sex trafficking. And I believe that will be the plot for the second one, but I think people were upset about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've like never read a Tom Clancy book. Like, I get his whole thing. I think more it's just like the video games that you and I have played, and throughout our teenage years. But I didn't know this was a book. I didn't know this was a Tom Clancy. I didn't know anything going into it. Did you? You said you'd seen this like before? Did you see it like right when it came out, or did you?
I watched it like literally the weekend it came out, and I was like, oh, sick. And I actually saw Tomorrow War when it came out too, but I was like, I should put these on the wheel because they are like pretty big releases for these actors in 21.
No, yeah, it's good. I mean, like, this one, I enjoyed it because, I mean, like, it's very unbelievable, some of the stuff that he goes through, but like, I thought the idea was like kind of cool.
I feel like we've seen these movies 1,000 times. Like, you have this badass Green Beret or Navy SEAL, and like somehow his family was killed, and he's like, I got nothing left to live for. Like, it's been done before, but it's still good,
Yeah, it felt like John Wick-esque, but like more with like military kind of thing. But he's super justified in his revenge. Like, I get it, he's dead inside. But the one thing that I was just like watching, I was like, oh my god, I was kind of rolling my eyes. And he's like, say her name. And that was like his like superhero thing, where he's like, whenever I kill people, I make them say Pam. But I was like, okay.
A couple things I noticed the second time around in the very beginning when they're having like a party for his retirement or her pregnancy. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, I'll get an iced tea. And he was like, all right, I'll go get it for you. And then he was like getting distracted by that guy. and she came in and he handed her a glass of water with a lemon in it. And I was like, that is not what she asked for.
You notice the strangest
I
things in
know, I know,
movies,
I
dude.
know.
You're like watching for the most random shit. Like, hey, hey, that's not what she asked for.
I don't know, man. I feel like you have to be attentive to details. Like, because at first she said, "Let me have a glass of wine," and he was like, "Ho ho, she's pregnant," and he was like, "Okay, seriously, like I'll take some iced tea." And she's like, "Okay," and then handed her water. I'm like, did you guys like forget in between like the script? Like, did you guys have like a break? I don't know.
Wow, you should be a set designer, like a production manager, Justin. You could pay atten Remember when they had the Starbucks cup in Game of Thrones? Remember that?
Yeah, I didn't actually see that, but like I saw pictures of it, and I'm like, how the hell does this happen? Honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
No, none of the actors notice it. The guy with the camera who's looking directly at the cup doesn't notice it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're, like, not even focusing on that, you're focused on other things, but it is someone's job, and I guarantee somebody got fired, not for what you're talking about, but for the Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Again, we've I feel like everyone's seen the kind of plot where like his team's killed off one by one because they killed, those other two guys in the beginning, which that one guy who was hit by a van kind of
Oh,
bothered me. I feel like we're gonna probably have the same opinion on this. So like he's
okay.
going to take the trash out and you're just putting the trash in, and all of a sudden this van came at like 80, nailed the shit out of him. But like I feel like if you heard a vehicle going very fast and like the engine like like you would probably turn your head, at least I would,
Yeah.
and you'd be like, oh shit, a van, and move. But he was like, fuck it. It's like nothing happened.
Yeah. Oh, that's what bothered you about the character, or just the fact that he didn't look?
I feel like someone who was a Navy SEAL who is like hyper attentive to everything and probably super paranoid, like retiring, would notice a vehicle coming at him.
Oh, yeah, no, 1,000%. That was the part in the movie I was like, okay." But funny enough, I actually kind of know that guy.
What do you mean you know that guy?
So, I don't, like, know him, but I used to work at the building that he lived in. I was a concierge, so he would, like, him and his wife, and she's an actress on that, Clarice show on, I don't know, CBS or something like that. It's the Silence of the Lambs prequel, and it was him and his wife, and they lived in the building I worked at, so I'd see him all the time. They're very nice, just kinda walked in, said hi to their job. But it was
Oh,
kinda
that's
cool. I'd
cool.
always be like, "Oh, shit," and then I saw him in this movie. I was like, "No way, it's fucking Luke Mitchell." I was like, "No way," and then he just gets nailed by a car. I was like, "Ah, dude."
I mean, even when I take the trash out or something, like, and I notice a car's on my street, like, I casually look over and be like, okay, like, he's not driving directly at me. So that seemed kind of meh.
Yeah,
But
no, that was insane. That was the first time. I mean, the other guy gets shot, like, that makes sense.
yeah, there's nothing that guy could have done. Like, those three guys got out with full autos and just lit his ass up.
Well, speaking of, like, insane shooting or whatever, when Michael B. Jordan lights that car on fire and kills, like, 3 dudes at an airport, it's like, dude, they're never gonna let you out. Where he's just like, "Alright, let him go on this one mission." No, no, no.
Well, it's funny you thought that because when he lit the car on fire and then he reached his hand and opened the door handle, I was like, no way that wouldn't burn your hand.
Oh, yeah. Dude, there's a lot of stuff. Like, first of all, you're not gonna risk being in there as the car's gonna blow up. You've got, like, seconds before the car blows up, and
he,
you don't know
yeah,
what's
I
gonna
mean,
happen.
the point of that scene is like he doesn't care. Like he
Yeah.
needed the name, he didn't care. He probably could have done it a different way. Like he could have drove up, like blew a tire out, before they got to the airport where there's like thousands of people noticing. But it was cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, the other thing is, what was his plan, dude, when he was in the jail cell and like 4 dudes come in and by some miracle he stops all of those dudes who are, in armor with batons. Then he floods this thing. But what's the plan? There's like 100 dudes. He didn't know those guys were coming to be like, "Hey, John Kelly, just the guy we're looking for. Oh, you're about to fucking kill yourself? What's going on here?" Like that.
Yeah, that was funny. And like I wanted to mention like the choreography was so good.
It
Like
was. It was. It was.
I mean, realistically, could someone beat up 4 guys in like full riot gear with plastic shields? Probably not. But like
No.
they're trying to like tell you like he's that badass. And
Uh,
it's funny because the corrections officer from the beginning, when he was like, "I'm not moving," he could have just been like, "Look, like the marshal's here for you, like you're leaving." And he was, "Oh, okay." Instead, he was like, "Get up." And they sent in like 100 dudes.
yeah.
they could have avoided all that, basically.
Yeah. Favorite part of the movie though, I actually thought that plane crash scene was really like intense. Like I was like sweating as like, it starts dipping underwater and he's looking for a way out. I was like, damn, I was like imagining it taken from the page of like a Tom Clancy book. Like just imagine the intensity of reading that and just being like, oh my God, like, he's barely breathing. He's like sucking like the air out of a carpet in the ceiling. Like it's just, it
Yeah,
was pretty
it's
intense.
cool. That plane like went down pretty quick. Like realistically, like I don't know if like that thing where like if you're deep in water and you're like elevating quickly, like you get the bends and like
Oh yeah.
I was kind of wondering like, yeah, like he's going down pretty fast. So.
Well, we were actually just talking about that on the Creature from the Black Lagoon episode. Eric was saying that you have to be like using the scuba tank or whatever. That's what causes the bends, not the depth of you. It's like if you're not using the scuba tank. I don't know if it's true, but that's.
Oh, I didn't know Eric is a master diver now.
I mean, yeah, he might be right. I didn't look it up,
No,
but
I don't know either. But
we've
that,
been
yeah.
talking about the bends a lot on this. I think we were talking about it in the Piranha one too. It's the bends keeps coming up. Well,
Yeah, it was cool. It was a very realistic scene.
I was gonna say though, I'm pretty sure because in Titanic, this is what happens. If something that big is getting pulled down underwater, I believe it would suck like everything down with it. That's like very close to it. Like your body would get pulled down with that huge thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, it would create a pull, and if you
Yeah.
were like near that, yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't think he's swimming out of that, even if he gets out. Like it's
that's
as
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm also not. I don't know anything.
One of my favorite scenes was when he was in Russia and they were like in the building and he was kind of like creating a scene so that his team could get away. And like he was just hand to hand combating like 20 Russian guards and he had like the AK in one hand. And I'm like, this is a badass scene.
It is. It's just so unrealistic that I'm like, I don't know. Wait, but when I watch Rambo, I believe it for some reason. But when I'm watching,
No, dude,
I
no.
do. But for this,
Dude, in Rambo, when he has that massive machine gun that has like the bullet link chain and he's shooting
no,
it with one hand, like
not that
impossible.
one. Not that one.
Impossible.
No. The original, First Blood. I'm talking First Blood. When I see that movie, it feels more believable that he could take on those people as opposed to this one where I'm like, he's been in a building, like the Russian police, like they think he's a terrorist or whatever. There's so many people just versing him. Like I was just like, he doesn't know where he is. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
It's cool.
again, like
It's cool.
it's a Tom Clancy book, so like, they're just hyping up his skills to that degree. Like,
I know.
but it was cool. The fighting was badass. I think Michael B. Jordan did a really good job in it. I
Yeah.
almost want to say he's like kind of underrated. Like
What?
if he wanted to, I feel like he could pump out a lot of shitty action movies.
Yeah, if he could be like the new Steven Seagal. He's like, listen, I just need a paycheck on the side.
He was in Black Panther, and he's basically like a really young modern day like Jean-Claude Van Damme or like something like that.
He was in Creed too, right?
Yep.
And then he was in Space Jam for one second.
Space Jam 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. How many Keanu's would you give this one?
I'm gonna try and be unbiased. So I'm gonna say like 3.7.
Wow, it's pretty high. I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna go with 3. It's
Okay.
good. I think it's better than Tomorrow War. Just I like that's rated R. Had some more action that I liked, more realistic, I guess. But yeah, I like Tentacles. I'm a Tentacles kind of guy. I don't know.
Yeah. Before we go to the next wheel, I just wanted to give a shout out. I did a guest appearance on Tattoo Squid's podcast, TA, the number 2 squid. And we basically just like shot the shit for an hour and talked about random stuff. It was pretty cool. And then before that, I did the new Suicide Squad movie on the All Bros podcast. And that was pretty interesting. I'm sure I know you don't like those types of movies, but if people like them, check it out.
Well, hey, while we're doing this, I also did Futurama season 1 through 3 on the Totally Tunular podcast. So you can check that out. That episode came out, I think, last Saturday. So you can check that out too. Look at that, Justin.
Okay, I didn't know we were one-upping each other. Right.
You did too. You already beat me.
Okay, let's see what's on the next episode.
All right.
Okay, we have The Vault, which
The
is on Netflix.
The Vault. When an engineer learns of a mysterious, impenetrable fortress hidden under the Bank of Spain, he joins a crew of master thieves to plan to steal the legendary lost treasure while the whole country watches the World Cup. Dun dun dun. So it sounds like a heist movie. All right.
Yeah, something like that. And then and Tomorrow, the Entire World on Netflix.
Okay. And Tomorrow, the Entire World, which was released on Netflix, is an anti-fascist law student infiltrates a regional neo-Nazi group to find out more about a planned attack that threatens her friends. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, if Chris Hicks listens to this, I feel like he'd love that. Next one, the final one, SAS Rise of the Black Swan on Netflix.
A groom's wedding plans are disrupted when a small army of well-trained criminals led by Laszlo Antonov hijack the Eurostar beneath the English Channel. The fuck? We're watching like two movies that it's like they're committing a bank heist underneath the Spanish bank, and this one's like they're committing a hijack underneath the English Channel.
It's like they had each other's scripts and they just like crossed out and they were like English, crossed out Spain.
Yeah, dude, they're both on Netflix too. This will be interesting. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for listening in. We have a new episode of Wheel of Horror coming out this Monday, and that's going to be Babadook. So check that out, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks for these new films.
All right.